So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone, and welcome to the first session of the month. So today we receive Matevž Novak from Slovenia and Ismail Elafur from Iran. And before explaining the webinar process, I would like, of course, to thank you all for your attendance and thanks both of you for your involvement today. So we're going to start with Novak Matevž. And during his presentation, I will ask you please to turn off your microphone, but I invite you, of course, to put your camera. You can add all your questions on the chat. And at the end of his presentation, we will do the question set and we will have, I will give you the floor one by one. After the first presentation, we will have 5-minute break. And then we will continue with Ismail. But before Ismail, we have a special guest today. So it's Ali Reza Amri Kazemi, who's going to give 5 minutes, I think, introduction about World Heritage. And after we will continue with Ismail presentations. Before ending, I would like also to invite you to the next webinar that will happen in the 23rd of March. So at the end of the month, I will put, of course, all information on social media and send it by emails. So I think that's all for me, and I wish you a good webinar and enjoy. And if you want to start sharing my tips, you can.
Okay, can you see well?
Yes, that's great.
Is it? Okay. Thank you very much. So good morning, everyone. This is a good morning in Slovenia, a sunny, very nice weather. Morning. Thank you to the leader of the project and the organizers for inviting me to have this webinar for you. It is a real pleasure for me. I have, in my opinion, a very interesting topic for you. I will be addressing geohazard in populated geoheritage sites. And I will be presenting the case of the Dovžan Gorge Natural Monument in Slovenia, which is where I really worked for now more than 21 years, starting with the geological mapping, very detailed mapping, and then collecting samples, doing paleontological, sedimentological, biostratigraphical analysis in this area. And then I switched to presenting my results into the interpretative materials for the popularization of geology. There also then started to educate kids, school teachers, and also tourist guides and mountain guides to present this natural monument. So I collected over these years a lot of materials, also photographic materials. So my talk will be structured like more or less a video or a movie to just show you the importance and the value of this natural monument that I will be presenting. So the first talk will be actually what I told you. It will be, I will present the Dovžanova Gorge Natural Monument. So the work that I have done so far, and I will focus more or less on geoheritage, of course, but also show you the other important values of the monument itself. And then this is not the main topic of my talk to present you the geoheritage in this area. The main is the devastating weather event in the Tržiška Bistrica River Basin in October 2018. So Tržiška Bistrica is a river that runs through the Dovžan Gorge Natural Monument. And I will be shortly present you the weather data, historic record of extreme weather events there. I will be then switch to consequences in the natural environment, and just general geohazard in the area, and then causes of the great material damage. And why am I focusing on this particular event so much? Because it really it was really a big one, devastating as it is written, and it opened my eyes to the third part of my presentation. So that this Dovžan Gorge is actually really a perfect laboratory for geohazard studies. So I will be through my cases, different cases, I will be presenting the natural properties. Why is that so? And then human perception of geohazard and geohazard mitigation in this natural monument. And then the final one, which is actually the main topic of my talk, the problem of balancing nature conservation, human activities, and safety measures in geoheritage sites. So when you have these three elements like geoheritage, geohazard, and then human activities, you are actually introduced with a real clash of interests, because of course, as you would like firstly to present geoheritage, to conserve it, and to preserve it as it is with all these natural features and natural processes. And then you have a geohazard there that is very dangerous, of course, dangerous to the human people that live there, so inhabitants, also their economic activities there, and of course we have to take care of their the safety measures to preserve that. And when you try to confront this interest, you will see that you really are in a big trouble. I hope this will be clear for my presentation. So let's first move to the setting. So where I'm taking you in this 1 hour. So we will go to the Alps. This is Slovenia, a small country in the Alpine and also Adriatic area. So here. And the study area which I'm presenting is this Karavanke Mountains, the northern mountain range, which is a part of a smaller mountain range within the Alps, and it borders to Austria on the north. And this is the place where this is Ljubljana is the capital of Slovenia. So I have to place you also geologically in the area, of course, because we will be talking about geoheritage. So the area lies in the. So first, I would like to show you this picture that really shows you the complexity of the structure geotectonic structure of Slovenia. So we are actually on the crosses of several major geotectonic units. One is the Southern Alps, which I will be focused today, and then we have Dinarids and then Pannonian Basin in the northeastern part, and also part of the eastern or central Alps. So we are just in this crossroads here. So the Karavanke Mountains lie here. They are a part of the Southern Alps, and they lie in between the two major fault lines that are actually a part of a structure that we call a peri-Adriatic fault system. So the most important tectonic line is the peri-Adriatic line. You probably heard of this because it delineates the Southern Alps from the Eastern Alps. And then to the south, where the Karavanke Mountains are bordered, is the Sava or Fela-Sava fault extending to Italy. And it's because these two lines are still active. The Sava fault is very active, like moving 2 to 3 millimeters per year. What is the estimation? We have the compressional regime here, and because of this compressional regime, because of course this Adriatic microplate is pushing towards the north and also rotating counterclockwise. We have this transpressional regime for some time now that caused the shortening of the space, and of course this is why all these beds were first folding and then faulting along the long regional faults, and then they were pushed up in this very nice structure that we can call it in structural terms the palm leaf structures. And this is the reason This is the reason why Dovžan Gorge, which is my case today here, exposes very, very nicely exposes this late Paleozoic rocks in the area. So, and yeah, just to show you this, so the Karavanke mountain also extends to the west in the Carnic Alps. These are the mountain range between Austria and Italy on the west. And why is this important? Because Karavanke mountain and Carnic Alps represent the area of the late Paleozoic marine deposits. And there are several basins where these are very good seen and studied. And one of these basins is the Dovžan Gorge, which I will be presenting today. So to take you closer here to show you, you will have more impression how it looks like. So the Kossuth range is the highest range in the Karavanke mountains. So across Kossuth is already Austria, and this is the Tržiška Bistrica river basin. So you can see the discharge of the water come from all of this part, and inside here is incised the Tržiška Bistrica river incised into this Paleozoic rock, a very nice gorge. And this is the bigger town here in Tržič in the flatlines. Okay, so this is how it looks like. This is the gorge, and there are two small villages. One is Jelendol here, and this is the Dolina village. You can see steep slopes from both sides here, and the gorge actually extends almost north-south direction here. And to the right, I show you that you can see that the whole area belongs to the Natura 2000 protected area, and this wider area, the wider red line is the wider protected national monument, and this is the narrower one that really is from year 1988, is protected as a natural monument of national importance. So the reasons for the protection of this area is it was written like more or less like this, what I'm showing you here. So that this is an exceptionally picturesque gorge with Paleozoic rocks that are rich in fossils. But the whole document was actually more concentrated on the very beautiful geomorphological elements, and not so much on the geological ones, which I think are even more important. So you can see this is really a nice place with this. You can see the towers, the limestone towers, so they call them also the belfries or pyramids in this area. And then you have a very nice entrance, the narrowest part of the gorge with the very old road tunnel. So this is the road tunnel from the other side, the opposite side. And you can see how narrow this passage is. It's about 16 meters, I think, only. And this is another feature that was some kind of promoted. So the very nice cascading waterfall cutting its way through this extremely large blocks of quartz conglomerate. This is just pure quartz conglomerate. So the belfries also has a very nice thing. But in my opinion, I claim that geological phenomena are not only of national significance, but I think it's at least of international, if not global significance. And this is because I think it is exceptional fossil richness in both abundance and diversity here. And then it is the long history of paleontological research that is presented here. And this is what is underlined is for me the most important part. It is because here you have exposed one of the longest, almost continuous cross sections of late Paleozoic rocks in the whole southern Alps. And then there is a variety and the mode of occurrence of sedimentary rocks that is also interesting here. And This is the very clearly expressed impact of geology on human life and activities. And this is what is, I put it in the square because it's the main topic really of my today's presentation. So let me just quickly walk you through this, what I was before mentioning, this 5 topics. So the first is this really exceptional fossil richness in both abundance and diversity. You can see how many different, this is only a very small pick of them. I wanted to show you the most important ones. So a lot of brachiopods here, corals are interesting. You have a lot of gastropods, and even the very one of the most rare fossils in the southern Alps. This is Conularia, and like petalodont or shark teeth, and also there are some ammonites presented. For me, as a biostratigrapher, paleontologist, even more interested in the microfossil world, which you can only see, of course, with a microscope. And this we are doing now in this educational center. We are putting them thin sections with this interesting microfossils, so the students and kids can see. And then is this the long history of paleontologic research in the area. And there is a man, the picture is a German paleontologist, Ernst Schelwin, who first published a monograph just in the end of the 19th century. He first published a monograph on fusulinids foraminifera, but he then published in 1900, he published this extensive treatise of brachiopods with, I think there was 15 plates of different shapes and different taxa of brachiopods. I put this here, this is not actually one of his plates, but I put them together just to show the diversity of the forms, which of course then show the different modes of life of these brachiopods. So you have all these different types of modes of life, how they are attached to the surface and represented in this area. So he described, I think, more than 81 different taxa, and among them there were about 20 new ones. So it was really an important, and this treatise actually brought a kind of also international interest to this Dovžan Gorge, because at least the paleontologists dealing with brachiopods all knew this site very, very well because of him. And there was another one, Franz Kaller. He was an Austrian geologist who was very important because he did the first attempt for the fusulinid foraminifera zonation in the southern Alps. It gives you this is the fossil group that a very good guide fossils. You can almost precisely date your rocks and make correlations of the rocks because of such charts. And in Dovžanova Sotesca, he described one of the nicest fusulinids foraminifera, this globular one, and he called it the Spheroschweggerina carniolica. Carniola is like Kranjska, part of Slovenia, named it for our country, and this is really a very, very nice fossil. So, but let's go to the most important. What I told you, in my opinion, is that this is the longest continuous cross section. If you cross it, this is the eastern slope of the Dovžan Gorge, and if you put a cross section, you can see that from the entrance into the gorge, you have the middle Permia. This maybe some of you know about this red Val Gardena siliciclastic rocks, and you go through all the middle Permian to the lower Permian. These are this limestone, Taurus limestone, reddish limestone type, and then through the upper Carboniferous siliciclastic and limestone rocks. So through this, it's a little bit more than 2 kilometers. You can tell the whole story of the changing environment. So I did a lot of such reconstructions, just first for my study and then for the presentation and popularization, interpretation of geo. So we have the time slices like late Carboniferous through the different rocks in the exposed in the gorge. You can actually actually construct the whole model of this paleo environment with and adding the fossils. You have this also ecological niches in this, so you can get a pretty good picture how it these platforms, the shallow water platforms in the time looked like. So if you just switch to the middle Permian, you can you are then on the land. You have a very beautiful limestone breccia, and also the model how this was deposited. And through the if you are mapping bed by bed in the gorge, you can get the whole model of the paleo environment. So this is what we did then for the presentation, for more popular presentation, so that we are switching from this delta type deposit to the kind of coral reefs types of environment and into the desert in the middle Permian. And all this story you can tell just because you have a very nicely exposed long sections of rocks here. And when you have all this put together, the environment, you can actually put it in the more global position. So we know very well that this area, like in this, the embodiment of the Palearctic ocean just below the Veriscan Mountains, and that it looks like approximately like this. We call it a Karawanke Basin, more or less, in between the Gondwana and Dovžan. What is also interesting here is the variety and mode of occurrence of sedimentary rocks. So you see here, this is the different grain size of the sediment deposited. So you have here pebbles and more to the finer and finer grains, and here you come in the shallow water, you come to the limestones. And the pattern that you are observing through mapping in just walking along the section, you can see this pattern that you have first conglomerate, that it goes finer grained sediments and limestone, and then just like a mirror image to the top. And this is of course the type that we call a cyclic deposition. You have like exposed like more or less 3 cycles here that you can quite clearly see, and the cycles are known, to of course reveal the sea level fluctuation over the time. So this is also why you have such a great variety of rocks exposed here. And this is just some of the evidences of the international interest of the area. This is actually 2 years ago. I guided the field trip that was included in the 19th International Congress of Carboniferous and Permian. So you have a very international people from Australia, Japan, China, Russia visited the area. So this is kind of a proof that the area is really interesting. And also the people from the Geoheritage Preservation community also visited several times. This is a pro-geo working group that visited the area, and this is the place of this brachiopod locality, famous one. And also it was taking care of the popularization of geology and education. Also a long time ago, there were in 1983, it was this was the center of the newly established Slovenian Geological Trail. And this is the opening event here. It was a guidebook, and we had also in here the first geological pillar in Slovenia. There now we have several of this. So this is a very nice representation of the succession of the stratigraphic succession of rocks with the area. And this is one of the activities that I would like to point out, because I think it's a really, really very good idea. Is we have the event that is called GeoBioBlitz. It's also covered by the US Embassy in Ljubljana, and this was made such an article in the National Geographic Junior paper. So why is this interesting? Because we are facing geoheritage with bioheritage, and we are presenting to the kids, you know, this. If you are looking, if you are observing today bioheritage, so biodiversity, you know how very many information are lost in the geodiversity. Then, you know, because fossils only show you the small frame of the biodiversity in the geological past. So they then appreciate fossils much more than they did it before they visited this course. Okay, so I am now just to have the impressions of the different features in the gorge. I will move to my second topic, is the extreme weather conditions in the Tržiška Bistrica Valley, and this is the first one. We have a very quite a wide range of different weather conditions here. So this is this was one of the hottest day in the last more than 10 years. It was 34 degrees here. People are bathing in here, but you can have in also in the same place. You can see here. You can have the whole channel is the whole river is just frozen here. So the wide range of temperature in the area. And if this is the normal day in the more or less summertime in the gorge, so this is what you get when the water gets after the heavy rain. So the Tržiška Bistrica is a torrential flow. It's typical torrential flow. The Alpine River brings a lot of water, and this is in 2017. And if this is the normal day in the gorge, in this waterfall, this is how it looks like after the heavy rain. So we were wondering if this event that in 2017 it didn't cause almost no damage to the area. It was just changing a little bit the shape of the riverbed, but it didn't cause any material damage at all. So we were then asking ourselves, what was the specialty of this event in October? It was during the night between the 29th and the 30th of October in 2018. Why it was so different to make such a big devastation in the area? So through the presentation of the pictures of the consequences, I will be mentioning the Jelendol. So here goes the Tržiška Bistrica. Can you see my mouse? I think you can. Okay. This is the course of the Tržiška Bistrica River, and through here. So this is the village of Jelendol, and this is a small village of Dolina, and this is the narrowest part. So in Jelendol, you had all these problems. So the river actually totally changed its course. It was before, it was running like this, and then it along the side gullies, it brought so much debris, this rock debris, that it totally shifted the river channel here. You can see how much debris is everywhere, and that this was a major problem. Was the timber, the floating timber in the river, eroding the channel even more. And you can see behind here there is also a small landslide that occurred. So it was a real damage. So in this area, I think there were like along the whole valley, there was 8 bridges that were totally destroyed. And this is the Dovžan Gorge. So the narrower area, you can see the erosion of the river banks. Also here, 3 bridges went down, and the road was just eaten in several places here. And this is the main road through the gorge, and you can see all this gravel, and the river is actually running now just along the main road. So in the town of Tržič, this is in one of the bigger floods in 2009. You can see the house, the river went just to the edge, but in this event, this house here was totally destroyed. So these are just a few weather data. I will not go into detail here, just to show you that that we measured like 222 millimeters in 24 hours, which is if you return periods, if you look at the return periods for the 24 hours, you can see that this happens actually almost more than every 5 years. So this was not a major the major course of this, but it was this data here. So that we had in less than 5 hours, we have 103 millimeters of rain falling. So in very short period, a lot of rain in really short periods. And if you look at these 5 hours, you can see that that this comes every like 100 years. So, but the rain itself didn't cause much damage. The damage was caused by of course the river. So if we look at hydrological data, we have very convenient. We have the weather station just in Jelendol here, but this just measures the precipitation. But we have here the weather gauging station. This is here in Preska in Tržič. The problem of this is that it doesn't only measure this flow through the Dovžan Gorge, which is here, but it also is still Tržička Bistrica, but with the 2 major contributors to Bistrica, so it measures all the 3 flows through these larger valleys. But for the comparison of the events, it doesn't matter. It's just the relative comparison you can make. And what you can see is the data. So this is the discharge. The discharge was 100, and the maximum discharge was 195, and the maximum the value was the 316 the water level. So you can see that in only a half an hour this exceeded the river flow exceeded like all 3 the warning values, and by much, you know. And at 1 o'clock in the morning in Tržič, the town of Tržič, the alarm went off too, because of the danger. So for the comparison, you can see these are the data of these events, and these are the by then maximum values of the discharge and the water level. So you can see that this event exceeded both these values very much. So it was just the record-breaking one. And a telling fact is that the 5 extreme rainstorms in all these years, which are among those that are classified with the return periods of the 50 to 100 years, have occurred in the last 16 years. So it's much more often now than only 50 or 100 years. In this area, we have also a very good historic record of the events, because there is the German Baron Julius Born. In the 1891, he bought a large forest estates in the area from the Carniola Industrial Company, and started to build a sawmill facility here and also this road tunnel that I was showing you. And you see from the 1918 to the 40, just before the war, the Second World War, the village extended by far, and he has this sawmill facility here, cutting the wood from all these forest estates behind. And it was his son then, Karl Born. He made his own hydroelectric plant. He was very practical guy, and made his his own railway also to transport of timber in this area. So because of this, they also were following very good their business books, and in their business books you can find all the records of such similar events. One of these is also depicted here in the same place, Jelendal. You can see the devastation of the floods. So this is very important, when you compare the people's reaction of the first description of the latest events, and then the reaction to this that were also published later in the papers, are almost exactly the same. It's like nothing was learned from these events, from these past events. You have all the same reaction, all the same people perception of it. So let's move to the description of the consequences of the event in the natural environment. So this is the first one, is this that didn't cause much damage. It's just what was causing to the nature. And it was always, for me, it was a question, how much the riverbed is changing actually. How much does this very large blocks of conglomerate, which you can make an estimation of their volumetric mass, and so according to this estimation, you can estimate that the weight of the larger blocks much exceeds 3 tons. So how much are they actually moving here? And because of the Dovžan gorges, you have a long record of photographic material, almost from the same standing points, because everybody was always photographing this waterfall and the entrance to the gorge. So we have here are the dates of these pictures. And the yellow spots depicts the blocks that were in this picture, but in the next one they are gone. They are not here anymore. But the red dots depict the blocks that appeared as new in the picture. So you can see large changing and very big blocks just like this. Was then here it's gone. And it's that was it is a very primitive actually method, but quite a telling one to show you how much these blocks really. So this is the block that's in 2012, and this is after the latest event. So you can see that all this part was just flooded away, and this large block was moved in the place here, for example. And this is the area where the most changes appear. So this, look at how so this is the same, more or less same picture here and here, and this is all blocks that were just flushed down. Now it's just amazing. Of course, the water is not pushing these blocks, but it erodes the subsurface, so that's why they are then shifted. And here is the opposite side. And this, from the archives, you can see from 1918, there is a man lying on this block here. You can see, and it is really a wonderful thing to see, this. You can see the small block stacked here, and it's still here after so many years. So this is one of the persistent ones. Okay, so this is how we did this a little bit insight of the movement of these blocks. So to go to the geohazard and causes of the great material damage, and here I will start with some cases that will show you why also the Dovžan Gorge is so interesting for the geohazard studies. So first, of course, geological structures and relief. You can imagine that these steep walls are prone to all kinds of slope processes, slope mass movements, and you can have one of the good points is that this the course of the Dovžan Gorge is northwest trending. So you have eastern slopes and western slopes. For the comparison, you have this more insulated and less insulated slopes, and you have very different composition. So, but of course, the major cause for the material damage is the population. Without people living here, we would just be speaking about the natural processes, not about the material damage. And there are actually very few people living here. You can see Yellendal village, only 120 here, and then even less here. So this is all the inhabitants in the area that suffered this. The damage. Oh, and this is another point why so interesting. So if I presented you the cycle and the different composition of rocks here. If we turn this horizontally and compare it to the slope, you can actually see conglomerates here. Like this is the brown conglomerates, and you can see limestone sticking out of the relief, and you have gullies that are formed in this final plastic material. So you can see very well this indication how much geology influences the geomorphology. It is very clearly seen here. And you can imagine living in the gorge, that your only connection to the town or to the civilization, which is down here, is going through this short, very narrow tunnel in the very much fractured rocks, and just near to the torrential flow of the Trishka. So this is your only passage to the civilization. So in my opinion, this gorge is not at all place to live in. I think it's a hostile, like geologically hostile place to live in. And of course, in such an environment, the entire basis for construction, where you can only construct in the lower, part of the valley. So the whole slope is just made of gravel or the alluvium of the river. So there is nothing solid here. You can see. So this is all eroded in the area, and nothing solid under the roads. So it's very easily eroded by the torrential flow of the river. And this is the very nice example here. They made this very large construction of the concrete pillar here to base the bridge on, but it actually, if you are doing this concrete into the loose material, it just erodes the base, and then it even makes more damage because it falls down under its weight here. So this is. I will now present you just the two major features here that are really, for me, spectacular. How people are still living and not taking any concern or account to this. So you have here, just above the village, here is the village of Dolina, and this is Borova Pech, a conglomeratic massive fractures with all the different faults here, and you can actually see in this detail that all around these houses are blocks from falling down here, and also, of course, all the blocks that I was showing you along the river channel, and they came down further. So we were interested, whether this was only one event very long time ago, or this is all the time, these blocks are falling down, like one by one, not in one big event. So we were taking opportunity of this cosmogenic Lugnite surface exposure dating team. We come from Ceres Institute in Aix-en-Provence in France. And we asked this lady if we can take samples from these conglomeratic blocks that is just in front of the house. And she told us that, oh yeah, I still remember this, it was in 1941. It was in the middle of the night. The people here went from this house that was standing here, went for the wedding ceremony, so there was nobody home. Only one goat suffered the event of this block falling, and it stopped just in front of their house. So, but still, they still live here. That it is actually just no taking account of this. So we were measuring the slope for the beryllium and aluminium measurements, and taking the surface exposure. When the block falls down, of course, it is exposed to the insulation, and it started the radioactive changes in the rock. So you can date when this block was falling down. And then we were also measuring the limestone slope here in the narrowest part. We were taking samples from the base to the top to measure to make evaluation of the river incision rate here. So all these factors, we are just interested in this, how it goes, because the river is from the glacial times. It's it was a first glacial origin, and then it was incised in the sea. And you can still see here these scarps from the river that was for a little bit more time to these levels, and then eroded down. So, and if not, if this would not be enough, that you have the rock falls here falling from the steep slopes from somewhere here down the river. You have all this rock fall actually on the landslide area. You can see here everything is sliding because the base here is just shale. So you have both events in one place. So you have like landslide processes and rockfall processes. And this is another major thing here, is a landslide area that is actively sliding, not very, very slowly. And these are the houses on the top. You can see this house is now is abandoned. This is even older one, but they just moved to the new house here, and they, you can see in the houses how much damage it was done, just this sliding, and you are just building a new one in this almost the same place and just move to the second one. This is how it looks down this gully here. The top and the middle part of this landslide, there are actually not only you have the combination of landslide, rock falls, and debris flows, everything. So this is the lower part. You can see that the blocks are lying in this carboniferous shales, which is like oily lubricant for them sliding down the valley. But actually, in this latest event in October 2018, this was the only cause from this. So this is the gully, and it come down to the street, and this was all the debris that was flowing down, just blocking the road for the water. So you have also very, very nicely seen the human activities and how they influence the geoheritage geohazard. So these clear cuts, you can clearly see the very recent clear cut and the landslide that is down. Then timber harvesting, they are just putting the timbers along the riverbeds, and if such an event comes, all this happens. You get all timber flooding along the river. And this is one of the events that is really a telling one. So I'm always telling people, that they should be careful about constructing new forest trains, and especially in the area that is, protected, like environment protected, but they don't, these farmers, they don't take this very seriously, so they are doing this all the time. And there was this was a new one, and I was just there in May 2014, and it was just a like half an hour hailstorm, and they were lasting for half an hour. And I went down the road after this. You can see just from this path here, it was the debris, the sedimentary debris. This is this red Val Gardena sandstones and clays. Crossed the road, went into the Tržička Bistrica river channel, and this here mixing with the other water from the contributory. And after 1 hour, this is the town of Tržič. You have this flow of chocolate through the town of Tržič. Oh, and now to the last point that I'm making here is the balancing nature conservation and the safety measures in geoheritage. Right? So if this is really necessary, you can see this flexible rockfall protection barriers they are putting down, because the rocks were really quite often falling down the main road through the gorge. So they build this, although I question very much, because you can see this very heavy construction in the very, very fractured. I mean, this is just, in my opinion, no way that this could be stable. If you how can you fix this in the totally fractured limestone? In my opinion, this is even more dangerous now than it was before. But if this is necessary, I think this is absolutely not necessary, because it was absolutely didn't cause so much danger to the people. Just it were occasionally some rock was falling, not very large to the road, but and this is the locus typicus of one of the quite several foraminifera species, and this is the author Franz Kahler of this species. When he was 90 years old, he visited the area. This is the same place, and look what they did it now with this slope protection wire meshes. And this is the area of this locus typicus of more than 20 brachiopods. You can see wires all the way, and they actually now block the access to the localities. This is just terrible, in my opinion. And this is the cause of the latest event. They got money also from some European funds to make a reparation after the damage. So now I don't think it's even 1 inch of this environment is natural anymore. These wires just everywhere, and very long, very high fences along the road that do not, in my opinion, and not posing any danger to the walkers here. So everything is in wires now in this. And one of the main, the main element of geomorphological studies here, and was of course the river channel. And with this, what they have done now, all this comparison of moving blocks along the river they don't make any sense now, because the whole river more or less is now changed into the channel, into the artificial channel. And people visiting now in the area, they look, oh, this is really very nice here now. Look how perfectly they repair this, and because I think people are used to put things in order to their likings, but for me it's cry in the sleep now. It is everything is so. My question is now in this area, what remains natural in the natural monument of national significance? Because without any, thinking, like they are just changing it into the artificial environment. And what was for me really funny, I looked at one of these tablets on the wood that is now protecting this, and you can see that it comes from the Rondino wrote, the French company, with all this wood, that we have in the back I was showing you before, this country with amazing quantities of wood. We imported the wood from French companies from France. So for the conclusions, I raised, to me, several questions were raised after this event. So aid financing as governmental responsibility. So to what degree and how, for how much longer does it make sense? This. So how much money should we spend for the events that are taking place all over and all over again, the almost same events with the same damage, and they are just making reparation after reparation. And another one is the climate change adaptation plan. So every country, and even on the European level, we have these adaptation plans. But when is it the time to act? How much? Because in these plans, they actually say that such an areas like Dovžan Gorge would be a perfect example. Should be actually people should move out in longer, because these events are every 10 years now. So it is. And then conservation of geoheritage. So how important or how valuable must it be to consider it a priority over the safety measures for people? So instead of giving you answers to these questions, I'm actually giving answer in question marks. So for you, for the discussion, so do reasonable answers to the above question actually exist, apart from those mostly grounded of subjective basis, like mine? It's purely subjective. As a nature lover, of course, I prefer nature over the inhabitants there. And is there a model of the evaluation of such factors, so that you can not subjectively evaluate how to react in such fact? So thank you very much. I was a little bit too long. Hope not a problem. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much for this great presentation. Complete also presentation. I think so. We have Ben. First, you have some remarks.
Well, I'd like to pick up, if I can, just quickly on your last question. The two questions. First of all, I'm not sure if we have a quantitative way as yet of dealing with this, but I think it's something very important to move on to do. Just like in geotechnical engineering, they have quantitative, or in fact semi-quantitative, ways of deciding what is safe and what is not. It's possible to put in place a methodology which will never be perfect to quantify, but it's up to people like you and me and Nina and whoever to do that sort of thing. The second point is, well, I like the French wood thing there, and that reminds me very much of the Puy de Dôme, which is just outside the house here. It's World Heritage, and it's inscribed for its natural geological value. There is, to allow people to visit it, they built a railway up to the top, so that people did not drive up and to concentrate people. However, now they've built the train, there are talks of covering the volcano in wire mesh, so that the train is protected from the volcano itself. And this is a quandary, because by inviting people to go there, you create something that then you need to protect, and by doing that you can lead to the destruction of the very thing you wanted to protect and have people to see. And that's
exactly.
And it always seems to be the case, the more investment there is, then the more politically you need to keep the thing going, and the less the natural part is then valued. But how you manage and deal with that is a great problem, because the questions that need to be asked don't tend to be asked until they've done the work.
Exactly, yeah, very good point. Yeah, that's my problem. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and Mia, I had a question is, has been a decline in the number of people coming in this region after the event of October 2018?
No, it's not a decline. They are coming. Yeah, this is a very popular place also just to pass, because it's access to the mountains behind. It is also a very good recreational spot around there. And people are coming in masses. And there is another problem of this economic activity. They don't have any facilities to oversleep there, or even to eat. So can you imagine people coming to visit this Dovžan Gorge? They are ordering pizza from Tržić, this Halo Pizza, because they cannot get anything to. Although they have villagers there, they are always this exposing this problem that they don't have enough money to they could make such arrangements, and in my opinion. Okay.
And people and do you have some people coming to install in new houses near the river, or?
No, this not no, because the protection, this Natural Conservation Act actually prohibits the new houses to be built there. But people are actually leaving this area. They are getting better jobs in the valleys, so there are less and less inhabitants every year almost.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, one thing I'd like to mention, which I'm looking for, there's an IUCN handbook on protected areas, which I've lost. It's somewhere in my computer somewhere. I'll find it and I'll send a link to everybody. I think what came up in the last webinar and keeps on coming up is that there's a lot of information in this which is useful for these questions, that we can consult and use. So they probably don't have the answers to each specific question, but there are, shall we say, it shares the problem around. So I think that's worth consulting, and I can't find it at the moment, but I'll find the link to it and I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah. Thank you. I would be very grateful for this link. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think now we can move on. We can have 5-minute break.